So every year, as we move into the second part of the year, we start thinking about the warmth of the Mediterranean, and in particular the megalithic tours to the islands of Sardinia, to Menorca and to Malta. And this video is going to look at the various types of sites that are unique to these islands, and we're going to ask the age-old question of what happened to them, with particular reference to the Bronze Age Collapse of around the 12th century. BC. So we're looking at 3,000 and even up to 4,000 years ago. So to start with, we'll look at the Sardinia sites, and in particular the towers, which are called Nagas, and the chambered tombs, the giants' graves.
And now over to the island of Menorca.
Holidaymakers on this beautiful, sunny Spanish Balearic island are used to the amazing coves and Mediterranean sea views. But this amazingly picturesque landscape holds the memories of a secret, distant civilization. Luckily though, we're still able to visit sites across the island that provide fascinating evidence of this long, otherwise lost, Paleolithic culture. Menorca's Dolmanic period, which began well before 2000 BC, is the first recorded era that produced man-made structures on the islands. The dolmens are quite similar in construction to others found around Europe and beyond, although the small round carved entrance portals are a repeating feature found here, and these sites are generally to be found away from the later settlements. From around 1600 BC, people began to settle in early naviform dwellings, These monumental structures, built from huge blocks of stone, were the forerunners of the navtas, magnificent burial chambers named after the upturned bolts they resembled. Then, up to 3,000 years ago, the first taliots were being built. These huge towers were constructed from large blocks of stone with a truncated core. They differ greatly in design, some having eternal spaces, passageways and steps leading to rooms at the top. This led to the proposition that taliots were watchtowers or points of communication between adjoining settlements. The tower precincts are unique to Menorca, and they are obviously an important part of the life of the Taliotic people. They consisted of the taula, or table in Catalan, built from two huge stone slabs placed one on top of the other to form a T-shape. This was usually located within a precinct, a cyclopean wall that surrounded the taula and was accessed through a portal doorway. It's thought that these were important places for the meeting of the people for ceremonial purposes or for any other community uses. The settlements mainly consist of these circular houses, the homes of the Taliotic people. They're usually round or squarish with rounded corners and contain all the probable signs of domestic usage, including cooking, eating, sleeping and material working.
Before the Bronze Age collapse, the Mediterranean was going through a real golden age. This was from about 3000 BC, when the towers were beginning to be built in Sardinia and Menorca. So do these watchtowers signify increased wealth that needed protection? So the epicenter of the Golden Age was what we now know as Greece and Turkey, Assyria, Cyprus and Egypt. But it's clear that it also came down to cover the islands that we visit of Sardinia and Menorca. So trade between all the areas of the Mediterranean was massive, and the people lived a life of wealth and prosperity, and art and pottery and design was significant. This sophisticated lifestyle continued for hundreds of years, and the people of the time would have known nothing else. They would have expected it to carry on, or forever. But it didn't. It came to an abrupt end. So why? What led to this disaster? Well, it seems like basically everything happened at once. The original reason given for and recorded by historians was the invasion of a people called the Sea Peoples from places such as Sardinia. But this was actually part of the collapse and caused by the same reasons that triggered the collapse. So records show that drought was significant and severe, as was famine. A letter from the house of Ertan in Syria, that's the king, reported, "There is famine here in our house. We will all die of hunger if you do not return quickly, if you do not arrive home. We ourselves will die of hunger. You will not see a living soul from your land." So the king of Cyprus in Ergit recorded that, "Here with me, plenty has become famine." There's also evidence of earthquakes that can be seen from the state of the buildings on the land of the archaeology which has shifted. So it's thought that the presence of the so-called sea people arriving on the shores of the lands was actually a result of migration, fleeing all these natural disasters, and when they arrived they caused conflict and war, which was basically inevitable. So here we are looking at a systems collapse, the disappearance of the administrative control, of the collapse of the economy. The result was a destruction and a death on all of these societies. All societies died, and it led to a dark age which lasted for hundreds of years. So please do come and join us and explore these fantastic Mediterranean islands. Firstly on the Sardinia's Nurgas and Giants Tombs tour, and also on the Menorca's amazing Teleakic culture tour. All information's on the website megalithictours.com. You can book from there, and I hope to see you soon.